The head of state accused unnamed persons appearing before parliamentary committees of engaging in graft vices amounting to 150 million. The president has asked parliamentarians to tame the vice, saying it is destroying the credibility of parliament. The president made the remarks during a Kenya Kwanza ODM parliamentary group meeting in Karen, in Nairobi. In the company of the Deputy President Kithure Kindiki, former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, and MPs, the president said there was a need to ensure resources going to the counties are used for the benefit of the people.
You know, there are legitimate concerns on how resources are being spent at the counties. There is. We cannot also run away. There is legitimate concern. Let me ask, for example, the latest Sokohuru in the Senate. Because you have to accept, by virtue of the position I hold today, I am a consumer of raw intelligence. I know what's going on. Where does somebody find 150 million? Where? Is that his money? That is money that belongs to the county. Is that correct or not correct? Yes. Let me ask you, members of parliament who are seated here. Do you, for example, know, do you, for example, know that a few members of your committee collected 10 million shillings so that you could pass that law on anti-money laundering? Did you get the money? No. So, going forward, si tunataka tukubaliane, si we are one team. Yes, there are people who are destroying the credibility of parliament. And they are collecting money in the name of parliament. And some of the time, or most of the time, that money never gets to parliament, it gets to a few people. We are not going to shame them. We are going to arrest them. Yes.
What the president is saying kind of gives me a deja vu. You remember the time former President Uhuru Kenyatta said that at least 2 billion shillings were being stolen a day in Kenya. The fact that you know that 150 million shillings being stolen indicates that you know the people who are doing it. You have the power, you have the institutions. Why don't you activate the institution to stop the looting of funds? Well, as expected, Kenya Kwanza leaders and ODM leaders heap praises on the broad-based government in its first ever broad-based parliamentary group meeting. The parties came together for the first time in a one-of-a-kind meeting to take stock of the broad-based union 1 year after its formation. The President William Ruto, his deputy Kithure Kindiki, and ODM leader Raila Odinga led a meeting attended by members of parliament from both sides in Karen, solidifying their union ahead of the 2027 polls.
So we want a strong UDA party, we want an ODM strong party, so that they can help in governing the country in the correct manner that we all desire. Your Excellency, you have agreed with my party leader on certain issues, the MOUs about the 10-point agenda, compensation of the victims, and other things. Your Excellency, I don't see any reason why anybody in this country will oppose those kind of proposals.
Bipartisan efforts to heavily lift the serious national issues, you've seen them in the 10-point agenda. The fight against corruption, the fight against ethnic bias, the fight against all these vices. Without bipartisan efforts, no single side can be able to ever lift these national issues. So let us not underestimate what the leadership of the UDA through President Ruto, the leadership of ODM through His Excellency Raila Odinga has helped us to achieve as a nation.
You understood that the dark clouds that were gathering over Kenya could have been exciting, but they could also mark the end of Kenya. We decided that it is better to have an imperfect country that is struggling to mend its ways than to have a collapsed one.
I said we have a historic opportunity. It is not always that protagonists come together to look at the greater interests of the country. But God has given us this opportunity. And I must commend Baba here, because very few leaders have the courage and the mettle to withstand criticism and stand for the nation. Very few people.
So that's how that went down at Karen. It's pretty interesting that, you know, the leaders have been unable to get everything going the way it's supposed to go. They were talking about, you know, hailing praises to the broad-based government and saying all kinds of things. Well, you got to give credit where it's due. There are some things that have happened. At least we have peace in the country. I remember when things were not going very well, when the demonstrations came, had it not been for former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, probably things would have gone south. He's coming together with the president, restored some sort of sanity, but we would like to see more, holding people accountable. Now that they're both in government, we need to see delivery of service. Now, Chief Justice Martha Koome has decried online attacks on judges and magistrates, saying they are aimed at tarnishing the image of the judges and the judiciary. Speaking in Mombasa at the 2025 Judges Colloquium Conference, the Chief Justice said the attacks are a calculated move to corrode public confidence in the institutions. The CJ urged judges and judicial staff to uphold the law. Koome also called on Parliament to pass a bill safeguarding the welfare of retired judges to ensure parity with other African nations. The conference officially kicked off yesterday, bringing together judges and magistrates from across the country.
We have seen with growing concern that some critics have turned to social media not to engage constructively, but to malign and denigrate judges and judicial officers. These social platforms have become conduits for unfounded accusations, half-truths, and outright defamatory allegations intended to sow doubt and delegitimize judicial decisions. Such attacks are not only directed at individual judges, but are calculated to corrode public confidence in our entire system of justice.
Well, the attacks definitely, and the accusation is aimed at the president, because it was the president who said the judiciary and the parliament are very corrupt. So Rigathi Gachagua will make a procession from the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport on Thursday, then head to the CBD, and then make his way to Kamkunji grounds for a rally. Now, according to the Democratic for Citizens Party Deputy Party Leader Cleophas Malala, thousands of supporters are expected to join the procession as the party welcomes the former Deputy President home from his trip to the United States. Malala has further alleged that a plot has been engineered to divert Gachagwa's plane to either Moi International Airport in Mombasa or Kisumu International Airport to apprehend him.
We are also adequately informed of the mischief and also plans by President William Ruto to have our party leader arrested upon his arrival at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. We are also informed that William Ruto is planning to divert his plane to either Kisumu or Mombasa International Airports to arrest him from there. We have encouraged our members to also plan to receive him in those respective airports. We want to be very particular and candid on this matter. Take notice that any attempt to arrest Honorable His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua once he lands in the country will be met by our supporters across the country. We have asked our supporters to be on standby. We remember when His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua was impeached, he implored upon his supporters to remain calm and resort to singing. This time round, the song will be of a different rhythm. Secondly, we have had President William Ruto and his choir dream that he has been invited by President Trump to the United States of America. Mr. Ruto, on your address to the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly, under the theme, Better Together, 80 years and more for peace, development, and human rights. President Ruto, what are you going to address the UNGA looking at this year's theme and the UN principles? Is it about extrajudicial killings, abductions, forced disappearances, rapid support forces of Sudan, corruption, illegal gold trade, or illegal detentions?
He has to make it dramatic. You know, Gachagua just wants to cause drama in this country. I mean, he's going to come land at the JKIA, then drive all the way to the CBD and go to Kamkunji grounds. Kamkunji grounds is very hostile. I can tell you that. Those who know. If you know, you know. So I don't think that's a wise... It would have been better if he had come and had a meeting somewhere else. But Kamkunji, so that means Thursday, the entire Thursday is disrupted. It's completely disrupted, businesses in town. So probably he's going to find himself in Eldoret or Mombasa or Kisumu. Because all that needs to happen is somebody at the control towers to tell them, by the way, the situation on the ground here is not okay, so you need to land at in Mombasa, and the entire plans are disrupted. Anyway, the government is set to undertake a countrywide crackdown on second-generation alcohol businesses, targeting licensed manufacturers, retailers, and consumers. Interior CS Kipchumba Murkomen, who is on a tour of Kiambu County, has put on notice rogue business owners engaged in illicit trade, announcing a 100-day rapid result initiative to rid the country of the menace. The CS noted that the manufacture, sale, and consumption of illicit alcohol and narcotics remains a major national security threat, and directed sub-county security teams to engage local stakeholders to curb the prevalence.
We have been focusing on this county in terms of matters, drug abuse and drug menace and alcohol abuse in this county. This is one of the top priorities of our focus today in terms of our discussion. As you very well know, when this administration came to office in 2022, one of the things that we put a lot of effort is to make sure that we deal with alcohol, production of adulterated alcohol, illegal brews in the county. And I must say that great progress has been done. Between last year and this year, a lot also has been done, but still a lot more needs to be done. Our greatest focus is in relation to manufacture of second-generation alcohol within the county itself. Manufacture of, generally the manufacture of second-generation alcohol is, we have a problem with licensed manufacturers who are manufacturing the good alcohol, if I may say so, are also involving themselves in adulterating other alcohol. One would have a proper plant where they manufacture alcohol that is certified by KEBS, where KRA can be able to collect revenue, and then they have another satellite, smaller factories, especially in informal settlements, where now they manufacture illegal ones.
You know, they need to change strategy. There is need for change of strategy in the fight against alcohol, you know, these illicit brews, because we've been fighting these illicit brews from time immemorial, from the times of President Kibaki, President Uhuru, and President Ruto. We've been fighting this. And we are still using the same tactic of, you know, busting into places, pouring all the booze. There has to be something, maybe they should have done a research to find out why didn't it work in the last time, during the last campaigns. And after they establish why it has not worked, then re-strategize implementing and sealing the gaps and the holes that have made this trade just go off the charts. If they done that, I guess we'll be saying we are making strides in the fight against drug and alcohol abuse. But as of now, it's another campaign. The Cabinet Secretary for Education, Julius Ogamba, has reaffirmed the government's commitment to expanding access to higher education through reforms and the student-centered funding model. He revealed that to date, 136,634 first-time applicants had received loans from the Higher Education Loans Board, ensuring no student is left out due to financial constraints. Ogamba further noted that the Kenya Kwanza administration had directed all public universities to review tuition fees downwards, with payable fees now ranging between Kenya shillings 5,814 and 75,000 per semester, depending on the need and program cost. Ogamba presided over the groundbreaking ceremony for a state-of-the-art learning resource center at Tangaza University. The event also marked the inauguration of the University School of Applied Sciences and Technology, a milestone in expanding the institution's academic offerings.
Competency-based education system. The first cohort of the competency-based education system will in fact be joining university in 2029. Now, the competency-based education system is not just focused on identifying and nurturing the competencies of learners and students. One of its key pillars is value-based education. It is born out of the recognition that education is not just about teaching and learning. It is about teaching and learning values and doing so with values. And this is at the core of the mission of the Tangaza University. Ladies and gentlemen, education should not just be about filling an individual with knowledge and various subject areas. It is about being holistically transformed or transforming an individual and building his or her capacity to face the challenges and opportunities that modern life presents. The education model has to dwell on character development. It has to dwell on relationships, skills, and knowledge application. This way would make education a transformational journey through which educators and students grasp the weight of guiding principles, discern the role of their conscience, and remain dedicated to consistent character development to discover purpose and meaning in their society, in their nation, and in the world.
Now, medical students from Kenyatta University have a reason to smile after the medical students from the institutions were finally admitted to the Kenya University Teaching and Referral Hospital after a 5-year standoff. The Senate issued an ultimatum to the university and the hospital over the long standoff that has denied them crucial clinical training. In a meeting held at Bunge Towers on Thursday last week, the Senate Committee on Health issued a stern directive to both the university and the hospital administration, giving them until September to resolve the dilemma that has forced students to seek alternative placements in Kiambu and Thika, despite the facility being just adjacent to the university.
This morning, I oversaw the start of clinical rotations by Kenyatta University students, medical students from 3rd year, 5th year, and 6th year, starting their clinical rotations here at Kenyatta University Teaching and Referral Hospital today. And that is a critical and major milestone for both of these institutions. When this institution was started as a national referral facility, one of its main mandates is to provide teaching services and facilities to our medical schools to provide medical education. We also know that that has not happened between KU and here for the last 5 years. So today we are actually marking a major milestone where we are able to open our doors to KU medical students today.
Tumekuwa tukienda kule Kiambu, hospitali ya Kiambu level 5, na hospitali yenyewe ni mzuri, unapata opportunity ya kuona cases mingi sana, lakini pia venye mwenzangu amesema, kwanza distance si karibu. Unaona kati ya hapa na shule iko tu hapa, lakini sasa lazima logistics za transport, kupata basi ya kuwapeleka kule inakuanga changamoto kidogo. Na pia kule si KU peke yake wanaenda huko, kuna KMTC, kuna Mama Lucy, kuna all these other shule zingine zinaenda huko. Kwa hivyo mnapata mko wengi sana.
Kwa kweli kuna kusumbuka kwa sababu unaangalia kutoka KU mpaka kule Kiambu kuna hustle kubwa, especially sector ya transport, na unapata kuwa pia a lot of time is lost. Kuna muda ambao unapotea hapa katikati, ambapo tunapata kuwa ni ngumu sana ku fully do our clinicals. And considering hospitali hii ya Kenyatta University Referral iko karibu na sisi, inaweza kucompensate sana about the time lost between moving around.
Around 13 years that we've been fighting for this hospital. It's been a lot of work, to the extent 2 years ago we went to the parliament with a petition to gain access, and also to gain access to the hospital itself, and also to regain back this academic block so that we can have our classes, so that we can also clerk patients and access this facility.
Okay, let's touch on a little bit on the, ODM party. We yesterday had a meeting with the president together with UDA MPs, where a section of MPs now have condemned the statements from the party leader Raila Odinga calling for the abolition of the NGCDF fund and the decentralization of education to county governments. The MPs led by Mvita Member of Parliament Mohamed Sudi Michel, Kitut Masaba MP Clive Ombane, Matuga MP Kasim Sawa Tandaza, and Yusuf Bungo, and the NGCDF Chief Executive Officer, spoke in Mombasa in Vita constituency during the launch of the classrooms built through the fund at Mary Cliff School in Chuda area. The MPs praised the great steps that the CDF has taken since its establishment, exposing those who claim that the fund only benefits the members of parliament. On the other hand, the proposal to decentralize education has been opposed. The MPs want the governors to execute their current responsibility before adding more.
Hii pesa ikitoka Nairobi inakwenda kwa main account ya NGCDF. NGCDF ina transfer pesa kwa PMC, Project Management Committee ya shule. So hakuna hata shilingi moja mbunge anashika hapo. Miaka 40 serikali ilishindwa kujenga shule. Paka mfuko wa NGCDF ilikuja, ndo serikali ikapata nafuu na mashule yakawa wingi, population imekuwa kubwa, na tutaendelea na tutokubali NGCDF iondolewe, wananchi wetu wateseke.
Pesa zikiende kwenye ministry, mimi nakaa kwenye kamati ya elimu pale bungeni. Hakuna vile hii shule yenu itapata hizo hela. Kwa maana zikiwa pale, majuma mawili matatu mmeona yaliyokuwa yakifanyika pale. Hela zinaenda upande mmoja. PS anakaa anatuma hela zote kwenda eneo lake. Ni siku gani mtapata madarasa?
Kama ni baba, ni nani, ni shangazi atakayepinga ajue yeye ataenda NGCDF ifanye nini? Sasa haya mazuri yote tunayoyaona tutaitoa wapi kama itaenda?
Kinyume na imani ya watu kwamba hazina hii inafaidi wajumbe, sivyo. Hazina hii inafaidi ya watoto kama hawa, inafaidi mambo ya usalama. DCC ametuambia anataka hata maafisi ya chifu yajengwe. Hazina hii ikienda, maendeleo yote yatapotea. Kwa hivyo tuendelee kuombea hazina hii.
Leadership skills nazo.
All right, now several employees were caught off guard on Monday as Public Service Cabinet Secretary Geoffrey Ruko made an impromptu visit to their offices. Ruko, who had developed a knack for surprising employees in the public sector, was in Embu County, where he made a stop at the Eastern Regional Headquarters, among other offices. Speaking on the crackdown, Ruko reiterated that the spot checks in various government offices will be a regular occurrence as the government, through his docket, continued to crack down on laxity in the public sector. While hailing services at the Huduma Center, Ruko specifically flagged the Ministry of Education offices in Embu County for alleged laxity in their work.
And after I do all these sports check across the country, by end of November, end of October, by end of October, we will be launching a platform which we will use as a government to determine the productivity of each and every public servant in the Republic of Kenya. My people are very busy at the moment, working on an application, working on a platform, a digital platform, which will tell us whether you are at your workstation at the required time, whether you are doing what is required, whether you're on leave, whether you're on training. At 6 a.m., people going to work, and majority of those people are in private sector, but we in public sector, by 8, we are not at our workstation. What's the reason? Jamani, lazima tutie bidii, lazima tuwajibike, and that's what I have come to see. It is happening, whether it is happening here in Embu, I was in Nyeri, I was in Mombasa, I was in Nakuru, and I'll continue visiting and doing spot check.
Okie dokie, let's now take a look at what is happening in the newspapers. We are going to start with the Daily Nation. You can take a look. This is what it creams out. It has UDA Raila MP's meeting fallout, and then it has the picture of the three principals. You have at the center the president, and then on my left you have Raila Odinga, and on the right you have Kithure Kindiki. The inaugural joint meeting of ruling coalition and ODM MPs was marred by controversy after President Ruto and ODM leader Raila Odinga put the lawmakers on the defensive. The president for a third time publicly condemned the bribery in parliament, vowing to have corrupt MPs arrested, while Raila insisted legislators shouldn't run CDF kitty with a poisoned environment. The forum ended prematurely. Now, one of the things the president was told the members of parliament, this was funny. The president told them that there's a group of MPs who had, I guess, gone to either State House or from wherever. They had collected 10 million shillings to mobilize people to vote either for or against the anti-money laundering bill. And he said they collected the money and then asked the members of parliament, did you receive the money? And they said no. Now, the interesting thing, we are talking about corruption. And so if these guys had been given 10 million shillings, what was the purpose of the money? Why were they given 10 million shillings? And when the president asked them, did you receive the money? Then he tells us the 10 million was supposed to be handed over to the members of parliament so that they can either vote for the bill or against the bill. So, walio na masikio wamesikia. Page 2, hundreds of patients trapped as health ministry halts 500,000 SHA overseas treatment package. So these guys are stuck overseas. The Nairobi hospital has admitted rift with insurance. A man's search for Chinese father ends in heartbreak twist. Bram Lian, who was both Kenyan and Chinese, learned that his father, who was deported, had passed away. Oh, man. So his father had been deported, and he died. Okay. Then you have on page 4 now you have details of what transpired during the joint PG and at what point the fallout came in, because quite a number of people were not happy, and mostly so with the ODM leader talking about the CDF. The members of parliament expressed their dissatisfaction over the statements made by the ODM MP. Now, while in the United States, Mr. Gachagua made grand accusation against President William Ruto, and he's coming back on Thursday, and as we said during our earlier story, he's planning to land at the JKIA, then do probably ride a vehicle with an open top from JKIA all the way to CBD, and then go to Kamkunji. I mean, this guy is just doing the same thing Raila Odinga used to do. He's learned the tricks from Raila Odinga. And I bet this is going to be a headache for businesses and security. Quite a number of people will be forced to close their building, and the police are going to intervene. That you can take to the bank, and people are going to get injured because it has become the modus operandi anytime we have these kind of things. Now, the back page of the Nation is how McCarthy is turning stars into title contenders. Since taking over as Kenya's coach 6 months ago, Stars' good run in the CHAN has earned him praise. And then Hussein, we are learning lessons as we host CHAN. Now trust me, Jesus was in the position this guy is, where people would praise him. They would heap a lot of praise on him. And Jesus, the Bible says that Jesus did not trust himself to them because he knew them, in the sense that he knew man. The same men who are shouting, some of the men who are shouting Hosanna in the highest as they welcomed him into Jerusalem, some of them were the ones who are shouting, give us Barabbas, give us Barnabas, and crucify this one. So, let's save that. Let's see how Kenyans will respond to him if Stars lose. The Star newspaper is what we're looking at for. Remember, today is a Tuesday, so Star newspaper is free of charge. Right? How counties' new medical equipment will be bankrolled. Okay. Ex-soldier gets 25 million for sacking after Somalia raids. Okay. Desperate families find a home and hope in SHA subsidized program. How counties' medical kits will be bankrolled. Then Ruto rewinds Hustler spirit, Hustler script in battle for 2027 re-election. Hustler in chief, whose vast youth are voting bloc with empowerment schemes. Auditor General, political parties wasting millions of shillings. Then if you're looking for my gov, you find it in today's Star. And then the back page of the Star is Build on CHAN. Zico back Stars to ride CHAN form to AFCON 27 and World Cup qualifiers. The Standard newspaper, worst ever speakers. And you have the culprits on the front page. You have Speaker Moses Wetangula and his counterpart from the Senate, Amason Kingi. And what the Standard says is President William Ruto has once again broken his silence to lash out at Parliament, where the leadership of Moses Wetangula and Amason Kingi is coming under sharp scrutiny. The two speakers stand accused of abandoning impartiality, presiding over corruption-tainted chambers, and surrendering the House to the highest bidder. Far from defending the people they represent, critics say Wetangula and Kingi are fast cementing their place among the most underwhelming speakers in Kenya's history. Then you have officers deny witnessing Rashid shoot 2 youths. Vehicles used to smuggle goods to be handed to the state, says the judge. From life's first cry to last goodbye, Siaya woman's 40-year calling. Ruto vows arrest of MPs collecting bribes, but will he walk the talk? Good question. Audit flags GCD for 344 million ghost software. Hey. The Geothermal Development Company, GCD, is on the spot of a failure to utilize monitoring software acquired more than a decade ago, worth 344 million. Cracks in Raila Odinga's party widen as Sifuna Babu skip UDA ODM talks. Then you have Governor Mutai to face Senate in second impeachment attempt. Then confusion as Shah shuts all regional offices. Now, without regional offices, how are these guys going to operate? DPP challenges the acquittal of terror suspects in explosive cases. Then lawyer Cecil Miller sued by his brother over 42 million shilling debt. Aye. How do you sue your brother? Anyway, we don't know the facts. Court gives intersex athlete 1 million, orders state to improve prisons. Harambee Stars change from underdogs to title contenders. Madagascar will be no easy ride for Kenya. All right? Well, that's all we have for you today on Morning Live. Remember, tomorrow we'll have sessions with David Ogot in the morning where we'll be talking about alcoholism. Quite a number of you called, and we connected people to David Ogot, and they're now starting to work with some of the people who called. So I thank God for that. Tomorrow we have another session, and hopefully he'll come with some of the guests, some of the people that he's been working with, people who were drug addicts, and they will tell us how they were able to break away from that. All right? Well, later on in the day, we'll connect you to the International Faith Summit that is currently going on at this establishment at Buruburu. If you've been seeking to attend it, you can come to Buruburu, Redeemed Gospel Church Buruburu. That's where the entire function is being held. And by the way, boarding is being done free of charge. So you need to come. All right? With that, we bring the curtains down on the show and we tell you, do have yourself a good morning.